Hello. Well, I was thinking that the next series will be about St. Francis of Assisi. St. Francis has quite an interesting history. He was born in a very wealthy family. He was the only son um, a- of a rich man who I believe was much older, an older father. And he loved his son Francis because Francis was very uh, uh, funny. He was very smart. He was very handsome. And when Francis got older, he really wanted to go into the army, the military, and he wanted to fight. And he tried several times. He would join the military. I believe he might have even gone into one battle, but he must have had a very weak constitution, a weak body, because he would get sick easily and he would have to, go back home. And uh, what happened was that one day when he was going home, he saw a man with leprosy. And usually, Francis, along with his buddies, would look at those people that had the disease and they would be rude and um, make fun of them and just be disgusted, you know. Um, but this time, Francis was by himself and he saw this man and he felt compassion and he took off his coat and he gave it to the man. And he actually took the man's dirty, filthy coat. And then he grabbed the man's hand and he gave him a bunch of money, all the money he had on him, and he kissed the man's hand. And from that moment on, he felt the love of God. He felt the power of God in him. And he realized that this is what he should be doing for himself, for his life. So he went back home, and that night or another night following, he had a dream that God was talking to him, and God was saying, "I want you to rebuild my church." And in that time, there were many old churches. It was 1200 A.D., and there were many churches that had been built by the first Christians out of stones, and the stones were falling and crumbling. And so Francis started, with his own money to buy the materials and to fix up these churches. And he physically would put the rocks back in and, put them, build up the church again. And then his father found out what he was doing, and he was very angry. And he said he wanted Francis to come back and work for the family business. But Francis had no intention of doing that. He did not want to do the type of business that his father did. He did not want to make money. He had no desire to do this. And so his father got very angry and he actually sued him. Yes, back in the 1200s, they took people to court and they sued them for money. But he took him to court, and in the court there was, I believe, like a bishop or something. And Francis's argument was that he was doing this for God. So the money should stay with God and he should not be punished. But the bishop said to him, "This money was not yours to begin with. It was your father's, and so you must pay your father back." And he did. He worked and he did a lot of manual labor and he paid his father back. But he kept fixing up the churches. And his father disowned him because of his decision in life and banned him from coming back. It was very sad. But in the Bible, in Matthew, and I believe maybe the other apostles also, it does say, "Leave your father, leave your mother, leave your family, and come after me." And I believe that that is something that we must do all the time. I know I'm married and I have children, but there are times when I must leave them, even if it's not physically leaving, but I must be with God. I must follow Jesus. And this is a law. This is something that God says. Jesus says this, "Come, follow me." Several of my children have said that they have heard God say their names, and I have also. And why does someone call someone? Because they have to come. When I call my children, it's not to tell them to stay where they are. It's come here, right? So when God calls us, we are to come. We are to come to him. And maybe right now I am supposed to be, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do with my children, raising them, being, taking care of my husband and all this. But there are times during the day where I must come. I must leave them all behind. I must follow Jesus. And Jesus is in us, and we need to be alone. We need to get alone with Jesus, get alone with God, talk to him, understand him, learn more about him. Can do this reading the Bible, praying, meditating just on God. Like Brother Lawrence said, think of God, think about God, adore God. Another similarity of St. Francis with Brother Lawrence is that he talks about how he adores his love, his Lord. We have to remember this is a type of love. We adore you, God. We love you. You've loved us first. And when we get this love, when we understand this type of love, the world is just better, no matter what. So anyway, I hope you'll like this series on St. Francis, and also, more adoring God, thinking of God. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments, and I will try to answer them, or at least look up the answers or ask someone else so that I can best answer your question. And remember, when you want to ask a question to God, just get quiet. Focus on God. Ask him your question and then just sit and wait. And sometimes it may take days, sometimes it'll take 2 seconds, and you're going to know the answer. So anyway, have a wonderful day, night, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.